Caged beads are great. Caging is great if you have a nugget, like say this was a turquoise nugget that you picked up that doesn't have a hole in it, or if it was a piece of sea glass that doesn't have a hole in it and you don't want to go drill a hole in, you would maybe want to use a cage. Okay, so the basics, we're moving right on. I've cut a 6-inch piece of wire here. And in the middle, in this case I'm using copper. Copper is a very soft wire. It's easy to work with your hands. You'll see in the middle that I have marked with a Sharpie a 3-inch point from one end. So right in the middle of the wire we have 3 inches. Because what we're going to do is we're going to coil this end up to that 3-inch mark. So we're going to have something like this. Okay, and it's going to look a bit like this, and if I can get it here so that the light shows it real well, you can see how that will be. And you can see the mark on this wire. That's where we're going to coil it to. Then we're going to turn it over and we're going to coil it again. So we're going to take our round nose pliers. We're going to go out to the edge. We're going to take a hold of this. Now please forgive me, I am doing this through the camera. It is a little more difficult to see what I'm doing when I'm doing it through the camera, so I may stumble a little bit here, but start your loop with a very small loop, not too terribly small, but small enough. The tip of your round nose is probably just perfect for the loop. See how we've got that started? Now we're going to keep on looping, and we're looping on the outside of the wire. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. It's going to be a little hard because I have to move my hand, but I'll show you in a moment. I am looping the wire around the outside of this wire, and you can do it with your round nose like I'm doing it right now. You could take your flat nose, excuse me, let me grab those. You can take your flat nose and hold on to that. Flat. You don't want to squeeze too hard because you can mar your wire. And you can take your flat nose and do this. And as you can see, I am moving the wire around. Now some people like to twist with their right hand as they do this, or their left hand, whichever is their dominant hand. And some people like to do it more like this. They hold the loop and bring it around with their thumb. But you want to keep it on the outside so that you're forming a coil. Now, I have brought it up to the center point. It's not perfect. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. It's just about as close as right now that it's going to be. It's fine. We're going to turn that over because now we want to spiral it this direction and bring it up to this point. So I'm going to start again at this end, take my round nose pliers, again, it's a little hard to see through the camera. Really, I don't have as much light as I thought I had. It just seems to have gotten a little darker in here. But anyway, we're going to do this. You could also use, you don't have to take your flat nose. You could use this. And I like to, let me show you a little trick that I like to do. See, what we're doing is we're going the opposite direction. You see I got a little kink in there. It's all right. That's not a problem. I like to take my fingers and wind it around. All right, so for expedience here, I just jumped ahead so that I would have it wrapped. I don't want to take too long just to show you that. You see the loop is going this way, the loop is going this way. They're opposites of each other. It's almost a C. It's not perfect. This one's a little looser than this one. That's okay because I'm going to play with these in a little bit anyway, so that this is going to loosen up when I go to put the bead in it anyway. So it's not like it has to be absolutely perfect. I am going to bend this over. I want to show you something. we're bending this over on top of itself. So now I have two halves bent over. You can see that. Take my needle nose, or my round nose pliers here, and I just, well, actually in this case, since it seems a little tighter, I'm going to use the point of my file. It'll be easier to get in there. The loop, see that loop in there? I need to pull that up just a little bit because I want to bend it up. I'm not picking it up, I'm not pulling it out, I'm just twisting it up just enough so that it stands up a bit. Pick this up. Alright, well, I got it a little bit. I don't think you can see it as well, but we'll do the same thing on this side, so hopefully maybe this one will cooperate a little bit better. You see the loop right there, and what I want to do is I want to get not the end of the loop, but the middle of that first loop. I want to pick that up and kind of pull it up, bend it there. See, that one turned up very nicely. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to, see how I have the needle through there, or the file. I'm going to hold on to the edge of this, and I'm going to pull this out very, very carefully. I'm going to wiggle it out, actually, just a little bit. I'm trying to bring the spiral out, because what I'm going to be doing is I'm making a little cup. See how I've brought the spiral out? And I'm going to do the same with the other side. So you're going to end up with two. I'm going to do the same with this side. I'm going to pull this out, wiggle it out very gently. See how I now have a cage? Okay. So now we've picked this up, and I'm opening it up in the middle again, and I have this real pretty little bead here that I'd like to use in this, and it's going to be a little bit large, I believe. So that's okay. We're going to unwind this a tiny bit, just so that we can start the first like this. We're going to unwind it so that these go around the middle, and we're going to bring this like this onto the bead like this. And I'm not going to do a lot of wrapping with this. One of the things that I want to make sure, because I'm going to show you something else. See, there's the hole. I'm going to make sure that that hole actually is going to face the end. I want that hole to be toward the end of the bead, or the spiral, working around. Okay? Takes a little bit of working the bead to get it to be big enough to go, but you don't want too much. There you go. And the other side the same way. I need to open this up a little bit by unwinding it, basically, is what you're doing, is unwinding it a little bit. And in this case, and then bringing it down. See how I just slipped that down over that? And then this one I think I'll bring down a little bit more over here, opening it up. Now we could have coiled this a little less tightly, and that probably would have been all right too, but this is fine. Okay? Now, as I said, I want to make sure that the holes, in this case, you could, at this point, these little loop ends, tighten those so that they're closed loops, and use those as your links. Hook something onto those, and you would have a bead that's been wrapped and is held in the cage. Okay? But in this case, I want to do something else. I'm going one step beyond. I have a it's roughly a 2-inch piece of wire here, maybe a little bit longer. And I'm going to be putting this through the tip here and passing it through the other tip like that. Those two little pieces there, I've passed this through the hole through those little loops that I pulled out and through the hole of the bead. That's why I wanted to see where the hole of the bead was. And I now have them on another wire, which is going to become the actual linking. So press back that little loop, press those back in, because we no longer need them out. We can press them back into the bead like that. All right, isn't that nice? We got that very nicely there. Now we're going to take our round nose pliers, and if you can see this, and I hope you can see this all right, I'm putting the plier there. Oh, it's right against the loop of the bead that's on the bead, and I'm holding it with the other hand to secure it. Okay, can you see how I've done that? And then I'm bending the wire down so that we're at a right angle. Okay, that's called breaking the neck. Okay, and I am taking my I'm going to bring this back a little bit. I'm taking my round nose plier. I'm bringing this wire up and around the top of the round nose. I usually take my plier out like this and put it in here to give me a little more secure hold on it. You notice my bead just came down, but don't worry about it because now I have it where I want it. And I am, if you can see, I've just brought that bead, that wire around, and I'm wrapping it twice around the stem so that you have, and I'm shaping it a little bit as I go. So now we have what is called a closed loop. Can you see that? I'm hoping you can see that. All right. Now I also have a bit of wire left. See right there? I'm going to take my little nippers here. These are my flush cutters. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to bite that off. Just bite it off. And oh yes, I do have a file here. My students will see me pull out my nail file, my emery board, which works very nicely on these smaller wires. Yes, you are. You're supposed to go in one direction, but I'm trying to just get that little end. I'm not really being too particular about it, and we have a loop. Now, we take this side, turn it around. Do that. Turn that around. Round nose pliers. One more time. Down about there against the bead. Fold that over. Break the neck. Right angle, roughly. Bring this up around. Like this. See that? I take my pliers and I go like this so that I can hold it that way. It's easier for me to see. It's easier for me to manage. Bring the wire back around and behind, and one more time. Okay, and now we have that looped. Hang on, it looks like I may have not gotten it as tight as I usually do, which is possible, as I said. Yeah, all right, well that's good enough for what I need at this point. Where is the, all right. There you go. There you go. There you go. Can you see what I've done? And I would trim this little piece off, and I will do that a little bit later. I just, for the expediency here, I want to show you what we've done. And you can straighten it. And now you have two links on each side, and you have a caged bead. Just like that. Thank you for watching, and join me on part 2.